All right, week 16 to go on our road to Ironman Cairns. And what a week this one was. It was a week I'd been looking forward to for a few weeks, given that it was a recovery week, which was going to mean that I get a little less training and a little bit more recovery. So for those who are new to the channel, firstly, welcome. For those who have been here before, welcome back. My name is Des Trindle. I'm a 57-year-old triathlete training for Ironman Cairns in June 2026, balancing family life and work and everything else that goes along with it. So these little videos are really just a recap of my weekly training. This is week 16 to go to Ironman Cairns, as I said earlier. And it was a recovery week, so this will be a fairly short video, which I'm sure everyone will appreciate. So with that being said, let's just get straight into it. So Monday I had an office day, so I travel into the city. I'm on the northern suburbs of Brisbane in the Redcliffe area, and it was a nice to have that day where I was just travelling in, going to the office for a few hours and then heading home, and there was no training or thinking about training. So as I said earlier, this one being a recovery week. So Tuesday, I had some random stable inspections where we go out and just check up on some horse welfare and things like that. So also, as far as training goes, I had a run. Now my run then on Tuesday is a 10-minute warm-up. So I normally just run down to the boardwalk, the beach area there, and I have 3 by 4 minutes, and I do those 4 minutes at roughly 90%. So I'm sort of running at what I feel I could run at a 10k pace off the bike. For me, that works out at about low 150 heart rate area, if you're looking at where that is in a heart rate zone. So, and at the end of each of those 4-minute intervals, what I do is I have a complete 2-minute walk recovery. I don't jog or anything like that. I just walk for 2 minutes and then I do another 4 minutes. I repeat that 3 times, and then at the end of that one, at the end of the last one, I'm generally just doing another 5 to sort of 10-minute warm down jog, very, very light, and then a 1k walk home. So that makes sure by the time I get home, I'm well and truly warmed down and I'm ready for whatever the next session is. Next session was the following day, being Wednesday. So Wednesday, work-wise, I had an actually evening shift. So my evening shifts are 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the races. So they're night races. So in the morning, I go out and I get my training done. So I kicked it off with a 90-minute Zone 2 ride. Now in that ride, what I included was 2 4-minute tempo efforts. So not race pace, a little bit under race pace, just a tempo where I'm sort of staying on top of the gear, rotating the cadence around that 90 RPM and just staying very controlled. Having sort of a good 5+ minute roll between that and then repeating that effort again. So another 4-minute effort once we get to that. At the end of that, just rolling home. So all in all, just a nice, simple 90-minute Zone 2 ride. Around lunchtime, head to the pool, a 2,000 metre swim. This included some intervals and some 200 intervals. So as you can see, all the sessions this week are slightly shorter than normal. So 300 metre warm-up, 4 200s freestyle, good rest, 45 seconds within each, and then another 4 200 freestyle, but with pull and paddles, and then a warm down and out, and that gives you your 2,000 meters. So off to work Wednesday night, late at night. Luckily I had the next day off, Thursday, so I actually slept in the morning. I had a heap of work to do on our little truck that we're going away in this weekend, and as some of you have seen some of the other videos, we've got an old horse truck that we used to use when we were training race horses that we've been converting over the last 3 years into a nice little camper. 90% done, as they say, 90% finished, and we were heading down on the weekend for a night away, so which we'll talk about shortly. So Thursday ended up just being in the afternoon, PM, so a 30-minute zone 2 run, and to be honest I felt like absolute crap in that, so I'm unsure why, but we got through the 30 minutes, but there's no stage in the 30 minutes where I actually felt comfortable, which for me is a bit unusual, especially in just a zone 2 plodding along type run. So Friday morning, I had a day shift, so I was working from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. So Friday morning I got to the pool earlier, which I'm glad I did because the pool was actually going to shut at 9 a.m. anyway for a school carnival. So I got in the water about 7 a.m. and it was meant to be a 1,500 metre, 1,600 metre swim. Lost count of laps again, ended up doing another 1,700 metres. And that included a few 50s, so like 10 by 50s, fairly firm, and then another 5 100s fairly firm, and then just out. So just simulating some race pace efforts, but nothing too major. So rolling on to Saturday morning, put the bike in full race prep, so put the race wheels on, everything like that, roll out. It's only a 60-minute ride. Mostly zone 2, but once again I throw in a few just short 2-minute race pace efforts just to wake the legs up, get the lungs moving a little bit, and remind myself that that I've still got a race at the end of the day. So, and that's where we move on to Saturday afternoon actually. So Saturday afternoon we drove down to Kingscliff, which is in northern New South Wales. It's about meant to be about an hour 40 from where we are here in Redcliffe, but with the Gold Coast traffic, as everyone knows, that highway is an absolute nightmare. I think we were closer to 2.5 hours by the time we got down there, and a lot of stop-start driving, which was just exhausting to be honest. So that rolls into Sunday morning. So Sunday morning this week, even the recovery week, sometimes I like to throw in something different. And in this instance, there was an Olympic distance race down at Kingscliff, which is a 1.5 metre swim, 40k bike ride and a 10k run. And it's a great way, I feel, just to finish off a recovery week. It's giving you that little bit of a hit out at the end of that week. So you've had all your week to do the adaptation as far as the recovery goes, and this is just preparing yourself and for me too, it's giving myself a little bit of motivation as well. I like to train to race. Some people like just the training, but I always have to have that goal in the back of my head as well. And even though it is Cairns, I still like to have a little bit of fun with the smaller races, and I find the smaller races great just to practice your race day nutrition and the transitions and things like that, especially the shorter ones where they're a bit quicker as well. So the race was good, and what I'll do later is I'll do another little race day review video, and I'll place a link to it down in the comments, and it'll take me a day or two to get to that. So if you come back and look for that later, that'll be there, or if you've subscribed, you'll see it come up in the notifications. But overall, it was a fun little race. Weather actually held out for us. It was a little bit windy on the bike. 1 or 2 slight showers, which dampened the roads and just meant you had to be a little bit more careful. Especially with that race being a 5-lap bike, and there was a lot of bike traffic on it as well, so be a bit more respectful of everyone. And came away with a race day win, so getting a lot of dogs barking in the neighbourhoods, which you've got to love that when you're trying to do a video. But anyway, we can put up with that. Anyway, so that was my race taper week. How these taper week recovery weeks work is that I have a 4-week cycle, so I have 3 weeks of build where I increase my training volume, and then the 4th week, which was this week, is always going to be a lower volume week, and in total this one came in at about 7 and a bit hours, so in total training, so feeling fresh from it, even though I had the race. I pulled up on the Monday, and today being Tuesday morning, and feel really good. So, and that's how you want to come off a recovery week. So anyway, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. If you subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, you know the drill, and until next update, stay safe out there on the roads. Cheers.